My daughter was going to a school which had a pretty high pressure environment. She was doing fine academically, but we noticed that she was really struggling spiritually and emotionally. She was questioning the legitimacy of her faith. She was questioning the transforming power of Christ. Immediately after coming to Cole Valley, we noticed that it was an environment where there was not one single standard for what's acceptable. They encouraged people to be who they really were. It was a really real environment, and an environment in which compassion reigned. She felt the permission to ask questions about what she believed and who she was, what her identity was. And what came out of that is a young woman who's completely free to use her gifts, creative gifts, intellectual gifts, spiritual gifts, and who has a real sense of mission and who's Lord of her life. But I'm not sure it would have ever happened if we hadn't made the switch. You know, as parents, we would love for our kids to live in a bubble and to never have to hurt, never have to be challenged, never have to have their faith tested in any way. But that's not what we're supposed to do. God commands us to raise up disciples and to raise up people who can impact the world for Christ. And I can confidently tell you that the product of a Cole Valley education in my daughter has been a young woman who knows who she is, who knows who her God is, who knows what her mission is and her gifting, and is determined to go impact the world for Jesus Christ. And no amount of money in the world could pay for that. My husband and I are eternally grateful to this school for the impact it had on our daughter. If it's important to you that your kids are taught from a holistically Christian worldview, if it's important to you that your kids are challenged at the level where they are, if it's important to you that they are challenged to make their faith their own and understand and use the gifts that God has given them, and if it's important to you that your kids are in an environment where their peers, their teachers, and the administrators are all wholly invested in their becoming the people that God created them to be, then I'd say Cole Valley is the place for you. She liked to be challenged intellectually. She took advantage of the advanced placement classes and the honors classes that they offer here at Cole Valley. And she was specifically identified and challenged by her teachers, as were a number of students who were serious about studying. She was actually challenged to personally confront and think about the subject matters that they studied. And we found that a Christian worldview was pervasive in everything that she learned while she was here. So it wasn't just book learning, it was, what does this mean to us as believers? How does this help us interpret the world around us? And how are you going to use that for the glory of God? And that, the combination of academic rigor with personal application, with a Christian worldview, I think is not offered anywhere else in the same potency that it is here. Because of the positive impact on her sense of self-confidence that she gained at Cole Valley, and because of the rigor of the academics here that she experienced, her ability to succeed in college was not in any way compromised by coming to Cole Valley. Margot's in college now at Biola University. She applied to the rigorous Christian school. She got into every school that she applied to, very competitive schools, and she got generous scholarships to each one. As a result of being at Cole Valley, she wanted to continue a Christian education, and particularly as she was pursuing psychology. So she's doing her general studies through the honors program, and she's looking forward to spending a semester in Ecuador studying. She, as many of her peers did, she struggled with emotional issues and self-worth and that sort of thing. So she has a real heart for the struggles of today's teenagers, for suicide, prevention and that sort of thing. But she also really has a heart for the anti-trafficking movement. And while at Cole Valley, she spent her spring break 1 year at City Lights in San Francisco and got a chance to see firsthand the struggles of women who are being trafficked. The whole program with City Lights was inaugurated and instituted by one of her classmates. It's now an institution, and that student is now at City Lights going through their internship program and devoting an entire year of her life to serving drug addicts and prostitutes, the downtrodden in San Francisco. And it really captured her heart, and I know she wants to continue to pursue helping with that. My daughter was also involved in a theater program, and the director of the productions that she was in was incredibly solicitous, and he brought her out of her shell to the point where she actually played the male lead in The Tempest. He changed the part to a female part for her and spoke into her, about how he saw her bringing that to life. And I think it was an amazingly powerful experience for her to see what she had inside of her and the power that she could have to move an entire audience. And in addition to that, because there were other people who expected that they were going to get that part, it also taught her to be humble and to be a team player and to encourage the other people in the production who had perhaps smaller parts. It's such a hard thing to do, to produce confidence in someone at the same time you produce humility and a sense of esprit de corps, but somehow Wes was able to do that. And so I think if she had not made the change, she probably would have graduated from high school in a place where she was unsteady, at least in her faith, if not walking away from it. But as a result of coming here, she's incredibly strong in her faith, and I would say that is the primary driver of everything she does. My husband and I are eternally grateful to this school for the impact it had on our daughter.